All right, so we're live. Welcome back, everyone. Thank you, Johnny, earlier for the words of wisdom. How to apply this specialized knowledge to a definite end. That's the secret to life. How to apply specialized knowledge to a definite end. That's the secret to life. Why is it the secret to life? Why would you think that what I'm saying is the secret to life?
Law of compensation. Because duly compensated you want in life, it's a need for what you do, your ability to do it, and the difficulty there is in replacing you. So how do you define the difficulty in replacing you as specialized knowledge? You need to entrench yourself in whatever it is and be such a valuable asset that you are the lifeblood of said business or your business or whatever it may be, and then you're irreplaceable.
Yep. So one is understanding the law of compensation, as he's saying, and directing that to a definite end. But there's one thing we've got to really understand is knowing what that is, knowing who I am is. It's not just enough to say I've learned something and I'm just doing something, but it's really being able to do this. He's taking a book, and he didn't just take a book. He's writing who I am is. As it thinks, I create. He's taking a book, and he's writing the book. He's taking a book, and he's writing the book. Always working to a definite end. The secret to life is knowing who I am is and working that idea to a definite end. So the secret is understanding who I am is and what I want to see.
Hey, Ram, I think your microphone is off.
It's on.
And every expert was once a beginner, so it's very important to understand that we all have to begin somewhere. We all have to start somewhere. So the specialized knowledge comes as we progress and as we grow, but we have to be okay with that growth.
Yep.
The growth is a change, and we change as people along the way. And it's never about where you're going. It's about who you're becoming.
Love it.
Who you become is the definition, because that's the same point. If you're becoming, what'll happen is if you ever go to the top and lose it, or whatever it may be, it'll all come right back to you.
Becoming was the key. And he said it earlier, and we've been talking about it. It's not just the moment, it's where you're going. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Am I on? Are we good? It's who we're becoming along the way. It's just not enough to say, I want. It's about understanding who you are. And as you set these goals and we work towards these goals, we see something else inside of ourselves that we didn't see before. We start to unleash the unknown. The unknown possibilities begin to express themselves to and through us. Then you start to understand who I am is. We may change the goal. Why? Because we hit the goal. But through that process, the goals were not to get, they're to grow. We have put the goals so that we start to rewrite our beliefs. As we achieve the goals, we see something in ourselves that we didn't see before. And as we begin to accomplish those goals, we see something in ourselves we didn't see before. We begin to see more, and we start to put that $1 million down. Why? Because now we start to see that it's possible. We begin to think that it's possible. The beliefs change. We see more in ourselves that we didn't see before.
Yeah. But before that, really, when you think about it, when you start having a better understanding that your spiritual DNA is perfect, things start changing. You start believing more in yourself, because you can't learn this information, and the reason partially that you're not applying it because you don't believe you can do it, right? So you have to have a better understanding who you are, and why when people say that, when you hear it, like I heard it all the time before I have an understanding I have, maybe a couple of years ago, that you are perfect. And I was like, well, how am I perfect? Because I don't see it, right? Because of the thoughts I had, right? But when you start understanding more, everyone here, the first step that you need to truly get good grasp of is you are successful, right? So that means you have to start changing definition of things. In who? In your mind, right? So if I ask you, if you take the microphone, what is successful means to you?
So for me personally, success is going home to a happy, peaceful family that loves me.
Okay. What is success to you? Don't tell me ideal. What do you know?
I can't, like, you just took the words out of my mouth because look, the money's whatever, but if I have family and my kids are happy and I've done with what I can do with them and I have people that love me and I have all of that as a whole, I'm successful.
Okay. So everyone talking about result of being successful. You talk about result, going home. You talk about results.
So you said, what was it?
What is success to you? Don't make it pretty. Tell me what you truly think, because I have a point I want to make.
Success is deciding to do something and doing it correctly.
Okay, good. What is success to you?
Grow. I say growing to something that you want to be.
Okay. Jody, what's success to you? Freedom. Okay.
Good one.
Good. So let's think about this. When you start understanding the mechanism of mind, how things work, you're working with the laws of perpetual transmutation of energy, right? Thoughts become things, and you're always, however you are programmed, you're always bringing things the way you're programmed into form, and that's why you see the result that you see, right? In our society, success is mostly someone that has achieved certain things or have some certain monetary status or some social class or something that achieve, and we call success aftermath, outcome of a reality, right? The things that we achieve or we obtain in life, we call that, oh, that person's successful, right? Wrong. So you need to change your total perception of successful, what successful is. Every one of us works with the laws, and we're living in this body, and we're all having the same mind that is always perpetuating images into a form, right? So if someone even that is not getting the result that they want, they are having horrible results, they're unhappy, still that person is successful. Why? Because he is transferring his thoughts and subconscious mind that has been given to him about him not being worthy into a form, right? So therefore, Erdnagel came out and started talking about life. He says, success, let's define success because we're all successful. Define success as a progressive realization of worthy ideal. You talk about vision. You guys were talking about vision, right? You said, I'm always working toward the vision, right?
Always.
That's progressively realizing worthy idea that is worthy of you.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So when you start thinking about that, we're always going to a direction, right? In order to go after something that is worthy, the idea that you fall in love, you got to follow through what we had up here, 7 level of awareness. Do you have that? Can you bring it back up? So here, what determines what everyone else is going to go through, when you start understanding this information, first you understand that I'm successful. I have all the tools that I need to become who I want to become. I have the tools, all the tools, infinite potential to create a result that I want. Everybody should understand that, right? 1.1. Point 2 is when you start understanding that you got to start raising your vibration, you go through these phases. In order for you to start bringing that ideal that you fall in love with, it's this process. It won't come overnight. You have to go through this discipline. You have to be disciplined. What is discipline?
This is where, I just want to say this is where a lot of people fail, because the discipline is where you have to structure yourself. You have to say that no matter what's going on in my life, no matter what, I have to stick to this. I have to accomplish this. I have to do this 100% of the time. No matter what day, no matter how you're feeling, you have to get up and you have to do it.
Right. And if they don't get up and do it, guess what they're going to do? They're going to go back to what they know how to do. They're still successful because they're transforming their thoughts into physics, right? But with discipline, you choose and select what is it that you want to bring into form. What is the outcome that you want? That's why when you understand this, you go through these phases. Do I want it? Yes. Am I committed? Yes. Am I going to do what it takes? Yes. When you say yes, 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 you will never stop until you start. When we talk about progressively realizing, progressive realization, progressively I'm working for that, what I'm realizing in my mind, to bring it into a form that is worthy. Worthy of what? Worthy of me. Worthy of my time. Because everyone here is trading their time for something, right? But ask yourself, are you trading your time for something that is worthy
Worthy of you.
of you? Think about that.
The moment the discipline happens, the moment you set in motion what needs to happen, you must act over and over.
Yeah.
No matter what. That's it.
Yeah, and think about this. This mind that we're talking about that is a movement, it's always automatically working. If you're not taking charge of what is it that you want to see in life and you don't go through this is very, very, very important. We talk about this all the time. Because this is where discipline is going to direct that automation, that automatic transmutation toward an indefinite end. That's why you need to do things with purpose. I do everything with purpose. Why? Because I choose, I become conscious, and I understand that I choose and select what I want to see in my life. Make sense?
That's the thing. Eventually, if you do things without purpose, if you just do it for money or whatever accolades, it happened to me. So
that's perfect example. If you're working toward something outside of you, your mood, your vibration is always going to depend on that, what happens outside.
Contingent upon.
Yeah. But if you are working within, regardless of what the result is, you keep going until you find. Seek and you shall find, right? You guys all heard that. Didn't say seek and you fail and then let it go. Keep seeking.
All in awareness. What is missing? Again, I said it earlier. What's missing from this?
Oh, dear Lord, I'm sorry about
Again, that's contingent outside of yourself again.
Thank you for being honest. I feel you.
Again, what's missing?
Do you take offense to that, Danica?
The introduction of the personal factor. What was missing?
You.
The introduction of the personal factor.
The individualism is the expression of oneself. Until you hit the point of uniqueness, you will never reach discipline, experience, and mastery.
Yep.
You will always follow what everybody else does. You always follow in everybody else's shadow. You always do what everybody else does. So experiencing uniqueness, getting to that level, is the catalyst for change.
There you go. Understanding who I am is. When you begin to understand who I am is, the introduction of the personal factor. And he begins to choose and to select the images. What is the will? Will was our ability to select. I gave you the book earlier and I said it's the one who lives a life by design, the one that can take an empty book and write it prior to it happening. That is success. The man that can preordain, that can cooperate with creation, that's success. Creator's life by design. That means everything was predetermined. Everything I do it on purpose to a definite end. I do not touch a thing unless I predetermined I was going to touch it. We're here today because I decided to be here today. This image was born years ago, many years ago. Everything I do it on purpose to a definite end. And if you start to live that way and start to tell yourself that, everything I do from here forward, I do it on purpose to a definite end, you're going to start to think about what you're thinking about. Why? Because now it is a recognition of self-thought and who's really thinking. We've been talking about that conscious, subconscious mind. Who's been thinking? The average individual doesn't know who's been thinking. They just know that they've been just moving along. What's been missing? The introduction of the personal factor. The average individual's mind is static. It's not dynamic. What makes a man dynamic or woman dynamic? Motion, but it must be emotion. Emotion is thought in motion. If we just have motion, there's no direction. Where we find ourselves and direction in our life is whenever we make things dynamic. That's the introduction of the personal factor. I decide. Now it's emotion, thought in motion. Electric, magnetic, becoming one. It's the idea in formation. My mind is spirit in formation, and I enjoy creation. Dynamicness, uniqueness. When we have order in our life, order is what? The vision. There's an old saying, what's heaven's first law? Order. What brings order? The vision. That's what we're missing. Earlier I was saying it was the self-image. If we keep expressing the old self-image, we keep getting results we don't want. What we're seeing is the expression of the program. That's what we're seeing. When we see results outside of ourselves, you're seeing the expression of the preconditioned mind. What was our ability? Our ability to select was the will. Now, a lot of people, how can you break out of a prison you didn't even know you're in? Well, if we look at the subconscious and your will keeps selecting the old images, how much free will do you really have? If you keep checking your box and you check from that box and you don't go further than the box, how much free will do you really have? You keep selecting the images of what? What they were doing. Everybody's successful. We're successfully expressing ideas. Majority of them were not ours, though. Majority of them are not ours. It's whenever we begin to choose to write that book, predetermined reality, we write down what we're going to create before it even happens. A year before existence has formed. Ooh, that's power. Take a book. How many will take a book tomorrow? How many will go buy an empty book tomorrow and predetermine reality and what it will be like from now on? How many will do it?
Living there, it's living in that place, that abundance, that life, that home, that happiness, that joy. It's living there. It's living there,
but how many don't know what to select? Right now, how many went to your box and started to check and say, wait a minute, I don't know what I want, or I don't know what I could have, or I don't know what I could create? How many went to their box and started to think and say, well, I don't know what to write down? You wonder why the book's writing itself now? Now you're understanding why the book of life is writing itself before you can advance to it. You go to it and things are already happening. You keep going to life and the circumstances control your behavior. Why? It's because we weren't writing the book. The book was writing us. What's writing us? Subconscious program. Everything under the sun's already here. Not by accident, but by plan. Now, what we're teaching is not normal. What we teach is not normal. That's why very few people do it. Very few people will go back in and reprogram. Very few people that do it, majority of them are unconscious competence. And it's later on that they're doing all the research and they're like, damn, what I was doing. If the desire is big enough, the facts don't count. Why does life work that way? If the desire is big enough, the facts don't count. This is what the normal man does. There's nothing wrong with him. That's normal. You see that? That's normal. There's nothing wrong with him. That's what the masses do. Controlled direction, different model. Fixed imagination, woo. Who showed up here on purpose? Yeah. Who showed up here on purpose? Fall in love with the idea. You show up on purpose to create a new definite end? Self-control is the ability to direct your mind through any circumstance. Guess what you're going to hear? The minute you try to go outside of your program, guess what you're going to hear? It can't be done. Nobody's done that before. Why are you hearing those things? You're not good enough. What are you hearing? Old conditioning.
And everybody else of the likes will tell you the same thing as you do.
Yeah.
They don't understand it. They can't see it. They're afraid of it.
Yeah. People are stuck not because they can't do more. They don't choose. They don't choose. Will, your ability to select what you're going to do. Will is your ability to select the images that you will work with. That's what the introduction of the personal factor. The introduction of the personal factor can never experience itself outside of itself until it decides that it will work to and through you. That's power. Mic's off.
Hear me?
Yeah,
No?
we're good.
What he's saying is, what Abraham was talking about is getting things in better order, secret of progress, meaning that the order, your mind has a priority. Your subconscious mind has a priority based off of how you're programmed, right? Unless you intervene and you start selecting the image or images that you want to see. So in order to progress in life and start seeing something different, you got to change the images that you're working with. Let's think about, make this easy, right? We're always processing things, and when we're processing things, we're letting that thoughts, which is energy, go through our body and make it a form in our reality in the most convenient way, right?
But not until you do it.
Yeah. So when we're talking about that image, let's think about your phone, right? We want to know how mine works. When you go to, let's say iPhone, you open your iPhone, you have these files, images, you select which one you're going to go in and process, right? That's how your mind is. You start selecting, you have the power to consciously select what you're going to be occupied with. Otherwise, if you don't, guess what? Because of your senses, the way we're designed, we're always going to work with what we have, we think we have. Or we're going to always work with the circumstance, situations, limitations. We're not going to consciously choose, no, that's not the image I want. I want this other image. I want to process this because this is a priority. That's why people say, I don't have a time, or I couldn't do it. They do have a time. We all have 24 hours. That image wasn't prioritized.
The
right?
days are already fulfilled with their subconscious
Yeah.
mind.
You know how many people I invited to this seminar? 25 people. How many showed up? 4. 4 people showed up. You know why? Because in their mind, the way their mind works, they prioritize something else than coming here. That's why you asked earlier, who came with purpose? They choose a different image, so therefore they went and did something else. That's how life works. They went and picked another image. So when we're talking about the order is heaven's first law, we're talking about the life that you want to create, heaven's first law. The heaven that you want to live in this earth is according to the images that you pick. What is it that you want? What is it that you want to bring into form?
Discussing specialized knowledge and the selection of images. We have Mr. Jody Day here, and I'd like to bring him up here and share a little of his story on the application of specialized knowledge as well.
Yeah. Fun guys to listen to. Yeah.
First, let me let you know I'm still learning. And I think when we get to the point where we're not learning no more, then we're done. So I come here with a specific thing that I wanted to talk about tonight. So it's specialized knowledge. Right? When I first started, when I heard the terms, should be.
Can you guys hear him in the background?
Yeah. Specialized knowledge, I had my own idea, right? That's easy. I can do that. My specialized knowledge, tanks. Ask me a question about tanks, I'll tell you how to do it. Ask me about vessels, I'll tell you how to do it. Ask me how to sell those items, I'll tell you how to do it. But that's not specialized knowledge, not at all. I told a story the first time I spoke, right, about my grandfather. I love the story. I'm going to tell it again. And every time I'm here, I'm going to tell it again. See, what's happening here, I've been in this program almost 2 years. We met in March of 2020, and I think it took me a month or so to get involved in the program. So about 2 years I've been involved. So what you're hearing from me is my progress. What you're hearing from me is what I'm trying to pick up and what I'm trying to learn. I haven't mastered it. There's times where I get a call when I have to talk to Abraham and Taha, and they get on to me. I shouldn't say get on to me, but they say, are you thinking about this? No, you're really not thinking about this, Jody, because your results are not showing that. So I started thinking about my story and where I come from. I talked about my grandfather. And there's been words that we've used, that they've used tonight about being satisfied, success. We've used words about fitting in with the masses. And I started thinking there's one other word that we haven't used, and that's courage. It takes courage to do what you're wanting to do. It takes strength, of course. So you have the 7 levels of awareness that we've been talking about. And I started thinking about my grandfather. What he could have done is he could have been mediocre. What we can do, we could be mediocre. We can talk like those people talk. We can dress like they dress. We can do the things that they do and not make waves. Or we can be courageous. I love the word courageous. I want to have courage. I want to talk different than those people. So I want to be different. I want to walk different. I want to talk different. I want to. It takes courage to be successful. It takes courage to win. So I'll go back and I start thinking about my grandfather and his story. I'll refresh your memory. 3rd grade education. 3rd grade. When he was in the 3rd grade, his mother and dad said, "You're going to quit school." During the Great Depression, you know what his job was? fill up a wheelbarrow and haul rocks to make driveways. That's what he done. Okay, he did have some specialized knowledge. He learned tanks. He learned how to work hard. He learned those things. But what he done was this: the seven levels of awareness. He had an idea. He had the ability to think. Maybe on a lower scale when he first started off, but he knew he wanted something better for his family. Started his company on a party line. When the phone would ring, my grandmother would answer it. She would holler out the window. Production would stop. He would come into the house and make the phone call. What kind of obstacles do you think he faced?